Seth and I are not friends. It doesn't look like we're heading towards friendship.
What was like the first thing Vince said to you?
That's a good question. I think he laughed. Like he has that like, it feels like it's now or never. In a sense, it's now or never. There's things you have to earn. But the one thing I was really clear about, of all things, the music has to stay the same. And the reason the music had to stay the same was,
well, it's awfully good to see you, sir.
It's very good to see you. I don't know why I got stuck in it. Maybe because you were talking. I'm locked into
it's okay.
your.
You can stare at the camera the whole time.
I actually was telling, and again, this is a bit of a preamble, but we're in it now.
We're doing it.
I was telling my publicist Gina, who's on the other side of the camera, how much you've done since the last time we talked.
Oh wow!
Because it's everyone's journey. You know, when you find someone who's a hard worker, who's going to get there no matter what, there's a bond. There's a sense of it. Even if it's a different place, different time, you find somebody. I saw you talking to the Barbie people the other day, always talking. You get Dwayne interviews. Nobody's getting access to Dwayne. You're doing impressions with Karrion Kross. That's a good guy, by the way.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
And what a Jesse Ventura impression.
His Jesse Ventura is spot on. I feel like if the Karrion Kross aspect of this doesn't work out, which I'm fairly sure it's going to, and he's going to be just fine because he's awesome, but I feel like you could just make that your bit.
That could be his gimmick.
Yeah, you could be like Tony Ventura and just then force Jesse to come out and be like, this is not my kid. It's not. You could make a whole bit out of
That's
it. Bring
pretty
Jesse
good.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, his Ventura is impressive.
A lot's changed since the last time I saw you. It was 4 years ago.
What has changed? I had lost my phone in a hotel room, right?
That was the interview, yeah.
And we were talking about AEW, and we were in Miami.
That's right.
And was I at the NFL owners meeting?
You were.
Yes, because that makes sense. That makes sense. I do really appreciate that Tony took me to multiple NFL events, only because one time I got on the elevator with Emmitt Smith, and he asked me, "Is this where we go to the bus? Is the bus at 2?" He asked me
like you were a fellow
like I was
player.
part of it, and I remember thinking like, should I tell him? No, I'm not. I'm just at the hotel. I'm not. And instead, I go, "Yep." I literally I didn't want to ruin it. Like he's gonna walk out there and find out. There's gonna be plenty of like the red coats and the gold coats. They'll figure it out. But yeah, Emmett asked me, "Does the bus leave at 2?" Yep.
Man.
Yeah, it does. I appreciate my NFL time just because I love the NFL. And to see these owners and this crazy just whirl. I remember like Brandy got a big hug from Roger Goodell talking about Michigan. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. It was another lifetime, huh?
Seriously.
But that's what I was at that hotel for.
Yeah.
That's why. Yep.
Which, all brings us all to this. Like, I didn't think I'd be sitting down with you in a WWE situation.
I know.
After that.
I think I PayPal'd you for some AEW work, too.
You did.
Was it PayPal or was it Venmo?
You PayPal'd me, and I was like, wow, Cody Runnels sent me some money.
Yeah, that's how professional I was. PayPal. We got it done, though. Yeah, I mean, when you look at the doc, it's wild to think. At the time, no clue, but now looking back at it, it's like there was no other way. It's very odd, and I'm not a big story of destiny type, but man, I should be, because this has been one, and I've just been lucky to ride it for sure.
Everyone talks about the changes that you've made since you left WWE in 2016, but I'm curious, what's changed about WWE now that you're back?
Well, the schedule at WWE, like first out of the gate, is when you think of returning to WWE, you think of what that schedule can be. It's very daunting because they're trying to cover everywhere on the map, and they're wherever the TV goes, WWE goes. The schedule has been lessened, where there's a healthier schedule. I mean, I'm literally thinking of all the things that are different. The live events are branded now, Saturday night's main event, Sunday Stunner, the VIP element that's around the ring. I don't know if people realize this who only see Raw or SmackDown. At the live events, this VIP service that they offer is just the best bang for your buck. They've figured it out. They have figured it out. His name's Billy, who runs that, and it's one of my favorite things about the live events. But the main thing, and the far more important thing that's changed, is the people who run it. It's the same who run it, but they now run it, and it's a bunch of grown men and women now, in a sense of the actual talent. Seth Rollins is not a child. He's not Tyler Black coming from Ring of Honor anymore. He's a grown man who knows the psychology of a crowd, how he can move them, how he can not. And that's across the board. Jey Uso is a completely different animal. Sami Zayn, just like a true artist. Kevin Owens, having experienced the ebbs and flows of it all, and that creates the environment we're in. And the environment we're in is the business of it has been so good. Sell out, sell out, sell out. They're not random. They're I don't take them for granted. You don't want them to, at any moment they could end, but they're because you have an experienced group of guys and girls, and that's been the biggest difference. When I was there the first time, I was a kid, and I was blossoming into what it's like to be, in your 30s professional wrestler who has experience working with some of the top names. But still, it's no substitute for what we have now. There's no substitute for that experience. And that's what you see with these shows. And I think that's one of the leading factors. Obviously, Roman. But that's a leading factor into, how is this business? Like they're just, everywhere they go is the transaction is through the roof. And that's why.
Okay, so we know it's going to be Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And if you think that Cody's going to win, why not make a little bit of money on this? At MyBookie, you can turn your WWE knowledge into actual cash in your wallet. Yes, you can bet on WWE at mybookie.ag. This is the premier place to bet on combat sports. So that's WWE, UFC, boxing, really all sports in general. And what I think is so interesting about this is wrestling fans love to go, this person for sure is going to win this match. Well, if you're so sure about it, why not place a bet on it and make some money? And when you sign up at MyBookie using my promo code, which is CVV, they're gonna give you a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So let's say you throw in, I don't know, $100. Now you've got $150 to bet on SummerSlam or anything else on their website. So that's mybookie.ag. Use my promo code CVV and place some bets on SummerSlam coming up.
One of the biggest things that came out of the trailer for becoming Cody Rhodes was Kevin Owens going, Vince flew to him.
Very polarizing line.
Very polarizing, right? What was like the first thing Vince said to you?
That's a good question. I think he laughed. He has that I think he laughed because I kind of snuck in. I leaned over him. I think he kind of laughed, but I remember going in to talk to him. I wasn't afraid of anything, and I was overcompensating almost. I was very adamant of I'm not, and I've used the Bernie Mac reference a bunch, but he walks out and the crowd's kind of booing him, and he tells him he's not scared of them. That's really where I was at. It's like, we're good. I'm not scared of anything here. Let's talk. And I was almost overcompensating because both Vince and Bruce were so welcoming, so this is the term I can use, sweet, and so positive about what I had done. The fact that they knew what I had done and actually were citing different things, like, I saw this, couldn't believe it. It was very self-affirming, and it just went for that type of happy-go-lucky. We're talking about, I had, Liberty was a year old, or maybe not even at that time, and he's talking to me about what it's like to be a dad for a daughter and how special it is. It was just beautiful. And then in the last 20 seconds of the meeting, it's like, wow, Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, what do you want? It just, that's where the only business came up. And it was so, I told Brandy I would say this, but I was adamant about saying, please don't do one of those, hey, this is the deal, if you leave, it's off the table. Don't do one of those. I have to leave and think about it. I have to. And even in your mind, you're like, yep, I think we're going to do that. Even in your mind, I have to leave to think about it and take some time, because, man, we had made such massive decisions, and I'm kind of a career left turn guy with, no way would he do this. Nope. Okay. He went and did that. Oh, no way would he do this. So this one was going to be something similar, but really a special didn't feel like a meeting until maybe the last 30 seconds.
I was there in Dallas when you returned, and the big question was, is he going to return with Kingdom as his entrance theme?
Oh.
And what's so interesting now is, you return with Kingdom, but now the whoa is such a big part of your entrance.
Crazy.
Who worked that in? Because it's very theatrical now with you, putting your arms out for it. I made a video. I said it took 6 years for the WOAH to catch on.
So, the WOAH had been in different versions
Yeah.
of downstate music for me.
Yeah, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, the WOAH had been present.
But never part of the presentation.
So I think what really you'd have to say Kevin Dunn, because Kevin, he looked at an AEW entrance of mine, and I said it has to be this. This is what I'm not calling any shots, but this is what to be fair, this is what I would like. This is representative of who I am. And he was of the thought, great, we are just gonna make it a little bit better. We're just going to make it a little bit better. And we tried some entrances that the world never saw, just different things during the day. We could do this, doing that. And he set it up where it was most conducive for Monday Night Raw, with the way the staging is on Monday Night Raw, to do that and not have to build the Cody Vader every day at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Cody Vader.
Maybe save it for a pay-per-view like a WrestleMania, which we did. But he'd have to be to blame for the woes, because he loves the idea of singing, loves it. And you can hear him calling for, I want to see people singing. You can hear it. And that's just never anything that I thought about. But I can say one of the most important things, like the logo I knew wasn't going to change because I got the tattoo and that.
What did Vince think of the tattoo?
He again laughed. But that was one moment where I said, he had mentioned there's all kinds of designs we could do. And I told him, well, that one we're pretty locked in on. But the one thing I was really clear about, of all things, the music has to stay the same. And the reason the music had to stay the same was the music wasn't just at AEW. The music was at Ring of Honor, New Japan, every independent I could possibly go to all over the world. That was the music, including the line that I recorded on my iMac in my living room, gosh knows when, the wrestling has more than one royal family. For sure. They were going to take that out. For sure. No way. Somehow, some way we'll get there and it will say sports entertainment. Like we'll be dubbed over the wrestling. But no, they kept it and let it be. And there was a version of my song. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. There was a version of my song that was different, that as an option. And I just thought, I think the audience would be really mad. Kingdom is I'll follow you to the end. We can't discredit that.
Yeah.
We have to have it. So that was probably the most important piece of, okay, we're going to bring the Nightmare brand as it is. The most important piece is that song. I didn't know it, but I was fighting for it.
After you tore your pec, but you're still going to have the match at Hell in a Cell with Seth. What does the conversation with Seth look like? Does he go, dude, I'm not doing this. You crazy?
Oh, I feel like, oh man, I feel like because Seth and I's rivalry is true and real, I don't want to tell you how unbelievable. It's fair to say Seth is, I can't even begin to tell you how good Seth Rollins is as a wrestler, psychologist in the ring. And without getting too far, Seth made a decision that day that he made. It was his decision to make. That will forever be something I am grateful for. Seth and I are not friends. It doesn't look like we're heading towards friendship. There's been some flirtation with it. Don't think it's going to happen, though. All that aside, if I ever write a book one day, a whole chapter will be about how good that guy is, how he's super valued at WWE, and he's still undervalued, in my opinion. And having Monday nights with him and I in a nice competitive who's the guy without ever having to be in the ring with each other, I couldn't ask for a better sparring partner in that sense. I don't want to wrestle Seth ever again, but that day he made a decision that was very important. And if you get him, ask him, because I still don't want to say enough nice things about him.
Everybody knows who your father is, but when that was worked into the WrestleMania 39 storyline, were you okay with Dusty being a central part of that?
Yeah, I was okay. I was definitely okay with it. I got to the point where at the end of my run with AEW and the beginning of my run with WWE, where I was really big on leaning in. Like, I've been leaning out for so long. I've been leaning out. Like, okay, they're starting to boo here, and you're kind of split. Oh, let's lean into it. Let's like stir it up. And then when I came back, and the story was a real story. That is actually what I talked to Vince and Bruce about in that meeting. Was, hey, here's the WWF title. I have it. Dan Lambert gave it to me. This is the whole reason I wanted to be in the business. This physical piece of, this thing right here, this belt, this championship belt. So I was fine with leaning in because it feels like it's now or never. In a sense, it's now or never. There's things you have to earn, and when you're someone's kid and you're second generation or third generation, you have them all at your disposal from the beginning. But there's a difference from when you use them at the beginning and when you've earned them. And I felt like I'd earned them. And I remember Stephanie McMahon said this. She said, "Use everything you have," and there couldn't be a more appropriate time to use everything. Oh, WrestleMania, the main event. Essentially getting elected president is getting that match, the final match. Use it all. Use everything you have and leave no stone unturned. And she was right.
Was there any early version of WrestleMania 39 where you were walking out with the championship?
One thing that's been really very real and in front of your face and accurate is that the long road sometimes can be very special. But you have to see it. You have to really, if you say it out loud, no, that's not going to work, no way. But if you see it, then you start to feel it, and it's even sweeter if that moment comes, if that day comes. But there was, I'm sure, a myriad of plans. I'm so plugged out of a creative aspect because, from the time I was PayPaling you, my days as a creative person I'm not interested in them. Even if I had the best idea ever, I would be afraid to pitch it to anybody just because it just burned me out doing it, and I was too young to be doing it. I should have just been throwing my tights on, boots on, being a wrestler or superstar, however you want to put it. But that was the job, and that's what the audience wanted, and it just was a lot, taxing. Great lessons, though.
I remember saying to you in that interview of how do you balance being an executive and an in-ring performer? You're like, you don't. And
I'm glad I was smart enough to know then
you don't.
Yeah.
And when I was backstage and fortunate enough to do some stuff with you guys in AEW, you were an executive. You were heading up that show at that time.
Yeah, I took pride in that.
Yeah, as you should. And do you feel like at any point the wrestling then took a back seat?
I think the wrestling took a back seat right away because I thought my bigger mistake, and this wasn't an AEW mistake, this was a Cody mistake. My biggest mistake was thinking I'll stay as good as I am in the ring, only wrestling twice, 3 times, maybe just once a month. Sorry. And the Gen Z crowd out there is about to lose their mind, and I hope they understand what I'm saying. You have to do live events. You cannot learn how to work a live audience unless you perform in front of a live audience. So I was getting worse, as was everybody. And some of the best wrestlers, you name them, in that first year, the crowd was incredibly generous to us because we were new, we were fresh. Some of the stuff isn't going to hold up, just because we weren't able to do this on the regular and get it down and sharpen our tools. And that was just maybe it's just me, maybe it's nobody else, but you have to be able to do it. So that's an area where I think I was suffering from immediately. But you mentioned taking pride in the executive element.
You ran the production.
I loved it. Yeah, so you were there where I was still running those meetings.
Yeah.
I really love it. From an ego standpoint, from an optic standpoint, that was really cool. But I also really loved leading. And I just maybe wasn't ready to fully lead at that point. And it didn't rub everyone the right way that, why is he running the production meeting? Why is this and that? And then, your vision, Kenny's vision, Matt and Nick's vision, everyone's vision's that one thing. But, Tony has a vision. And then this is his money. And let's see how that plays out. But that was a good time. I'm glad you had a good experience because when we left, there was this whole disinformation campaign that Wade Keller put out, and I'm not even mad at Wade Keller. No heat with Wade, but I could tell what was going on. You didn't talk to any real source. As an executive, as a member of management, I was happy, wanted to help, and took huge pride in us being a professional organization, and that shows amongst the roster, the locker room, my kids, the people I didn't recruit, people I did recruit. There was such a fog of misinformation of when I left that it's fun to see in the doc itself, that wasn't the case. It was just time.
One of the biggest things that's changed for both of us since I saw you last is we're both fathers now.
Oh,
We're
wow.
both girl dads.
I feel like I congratulated you on everything else and then didn't say
That's
that.
okay.
Congratulations.
We both have daughters whose name
Yes.
begin with an L.
Yeah.
Logan, Liberty.
Logan's a beautiful name.
Thank you.
How old is this? How old?
She is 7 weeks old.
Only 7 weeks?
Yeah. 7 weeks.
How's the sleep?
Not good.
No? Are you happy to be on the road?
Is my wife going to be watching this?
Probably. That's
Hi,
you're
honey.
happy to be on the road.
I
huh?
got a full night's sleep last night.
Oh, yeah,
so that
must
was
have felt
nice.
good,
She
huh?
did not. She like I woke up 4 times in the
Well,
middle of the night.
so you won't get the full night's sleep, even if you get a full night's sleep, because
yeah.
they have a tendency. Wives have a tendency to text you every detail of the tantrum,
How did you know?
and it's great to know, like, oh, she's up. Oh, she's crying, but you can't do anything. Like, I can't do anything. So it's like the classic, like, lady giving birth, like, I hate you. Like, it's like they're just going through that again. Like, yeah, I got it. Like, I can't help. This
Yeah.
is
I'm just here.
I'm just here.
I'll rub your back, but I don't have boobs.
Like, I don't
so-
have if I had like a mic where I could talk to her, like, hey, Liv, try and go to sleep here. This is rough, but we don't have any way to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, sleep's tough.
Well, congratulations on everything.
Thank you so much.
It's-
Thank you.
it's
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. It's
Got all
very kind.
jacked.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I was really impressed. I follow what you do, and I'm very impressed.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wanted to show people that a dad bod could look like this.
Yeah, well, dad bods now. Also bods are held to a ridiculous standard now. So you have abs. Once you have abs, you're screwed because you have to keep them.
That's that
like
is
even if you get like a little 80s soft, where you're still jacked, but you're like 80s soft, like tights high up, belly button. Even if you have but if they don't see him, it's like this guy got fat. You know?
I love pizza way too much too.
Yeah, I would love. My next cheat meal is next Tuesday, after the Tampa Raw. I'm
Jeez.
pretty excited about it.
So I
It's
end
been a
every
minute.
conversation with the same question because gratitude's such a big, important part of my life. I wake up every day, I say out loud 3 things I'm grateful for.
Oh, okay.
And I do it before I go to bed. What are 3 things in your life that you're grateful for right now?
Brandy, Liberty, Pharaoh.
There we go. How's Pharaoh doing?
He's deaf.
Oh.
So we don't know if he's really deaf because we opened the popcorn up today, and I was just telling like before you guys started, like
Maybe he smelled
doing,
it.
He started doing this, but Pharaoh got old out of nowhere. He was like a puppy, and the next thing you know, he's 13. He doesn't want to get up. And Yeti, the Pomeranian, who I'm also grateful for, but not to the level of the 3 things. Pharaoh's just an old man. He's an old man wrestler now. He can do a few things. He's not taking any bumps. It's gonna be pretty basic. But Pharaoh's the man. He's in a house with love, and all of Brandy's dogs live to be 16. So I'm hoping he gets there because we had a Chihuahua that Brandy had her whole life named Monty. One eye, couldn't see, couldn't anything. He made it all the way to the end. It was a baller.
Well, sir, congratulations.
What are your 3 things?
Oh, what are my 3
Yeah,
things?
what are your 3?
Oh, my gosh. I think I'm just going to put family all in one. So that's Rachel and Logan. Our 13-year-old dog, Logan.
That's
or,
1.
Sorry, Luna. 2 is health. Because without health, what else do you have,
Oh, you're talking to DDP too much.
Come on.
Yeah, you're staying with him, right?
I am staying with him. The
Yeah.
well man has 1,000 problems. The sick man has 1. I think
Oh
about
my
that all the
God.
time.
Yep.
And then number 3 is just opportunities. Like we live in a time right now where we can set up a camera on a tripod here and millions of people can see this. Like it's pretty incredible.
You're tailor-made for DDP. I'm so cynical and pessimistic, but I have such a deep love with Dallas. But even he knows, like, he's not buying into this. He's not. The power cuffs, though, those are real.
They are real.
The power cuffs
oh my
are real.
God, are they
power
real?
cuffs are real. So good on D.
So that's my.
He only
3.
has 1 line in the documentary. I think he's gonna be furious when he watches it.
I asked him last night. I said, "Are you in the documentary?" He's like, "Well, I recorded some stuff for it." I'm like,
He didn't record a lot, but we love Dallas, right?
"Yeah,
Yep.
of course we love Dallas.
We
Dallas
love
is
him.
the best."
Dallas is the best. Shoot the
He
best.
put you over in an interview I did with him earlier today.
He had a great line about my superpower is believing in myself, and I wanted to incorporate it in a promo, and then I realized saying it out loud when you're the person saying it just doesn't feel the same as if someone else says it. So Dallas is the man.
You're the man.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.
Very much.
Great to
Appreciate
see
it.
you.
I will PayPal you for the interview. Right?